Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have the incredible artist herself, Sister Akilah Nehanda, with us again. She's doing amazing things. First of all, assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam.
And thank you to everyone who was watching. On behalf of myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast, we want to thank you, Sister Kilu, for taking time out of your busy schedule to have a wonderful conversation with us today.
Thank you. I'm always honored to be on the People's Podcast. I watch all the time.
Yes, ma'am. And we thank you for that. Thank you for showing love and support. Let's get straight into it. This summer, a lot of people are looking for things for their children to do. Let us know what you are offering, ma'am.
So, first and foremost, this is summer 2024, and we are in a digital era. We are in an era where everyone's on their phones. Everyone's trying to watch shows and be entertained. So, when we think about this generation coming up, I'm talking more so because I focus on kindergarten and first grade. And that's usually ages 4 to 6, sometimes 7. So if you're thinking about the ages 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, a lot of them are already tech savvy. They already know how to work their phones. They know how to work their parents' phones. They know how to do all the technology. So a lot of times you'll start seeing virtual schools pop up and virtual learning situations pop up, especially since COVID. But I've grown to enjoy teaching virtually. So what I've provided is a summer program for the children, and they do games, they do movement, they do, they dance, they have their brain breaks, and they learn how to read, they learn math, and they learn other subjects, sometimes science, sometimes history. So we break it down in 45-minute increments. So you have 45 minutes for your English, for your reading, and then you have 45 minutes for math, and then 45 minutes for whatever I decide to be that day. So it could be science, it could be history, it could be some art, it could be whatever it is that I choose. And then we have 15-minute breaks in between those. And so the children really enjoy it. I thought it was interesting that people were teaching online, and I didn't really understand how it could work. But once I started to teach for Whole Living Academy, which is a Black-owned virtual school that goes up to 12th grade, actually, they showed me that these children, they're friends, they create bonds, and if they're in the same city, they go to each other's birthday parties. And so they really do learn from these virtual schools. And so I said, well, the summertime Whole Living Academy wasn't doing a summer program this particular summer. So I said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and do like the messenger said, and do my own thing. And so I started my summer program for 2024. And so far, the children really enjoy it. It is for a whole month, and it's going to go on until August, and like mid-August. And so for 1 month, if you want to do 1 month, it's only $230. And so that's for the entire month, 3 days out of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that's from 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time to about 1 to 1:15 Central Standard Time PM. So we're having a good time, and I wanted to just offer that to the people because there's so many children who are just kind of twiddling their thumbs, and if they're not in any program like swimming or gymnastics or anything like that, a lot of their days are spent on the computers and on their tablets. And it gets to a point where we need our children to be doing more productive things so that they aren't just bombarded with propaganda and all the things that we see on tablets and whatnot. So I said, well, listen, this summer, let's get these children learning and caught up on their English and their math and science and all of those things. So I'm excited for more people to join the class, and it's never too late. people were wondering, well, is it too late to start? I'm like, no, the summer, it's not over till, mid-August. So yeah, we're rolling.
Praise be to Allah. And how may we find how do we enroll our children?
So all you have to do, if you already, there's some people who are watching this who might already be privy to my social media. So of course I'm on all social media platforms as Akilah Nehanda, but in order to enroll, all you have to do is email book akilahnehanda@gmail.com. So that's BOOK Akilah, AKILAH, Nehanda, NEHANDA @gmail.com. And so once you send me that email, I got a couple emails the other day. And if you have any questions about it, and some children, a sister, her child is only 3 years old, so she was asking me, what can I do for him? And so I actually added a class. So at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, I'm working with a 3-year-old, and if there's any other children, who might be 3 out there, who you're trying to get them to get their letter recognition and their letter sounds and their, number recognition, and all of those things. I just added that as as a component to my class. But also I'm offering a $10 day trial. So if you want to just test it out, if you want to see like what we're doing, how the children are, like what they're learning, what they're watching when it comes to the movement and the different YouTube videos that I have them checking out as far as their English and whatnot, you can just do a $10 trial and I'll send you the link, and your child could be in the class for a day, and they'll have a ball. And of course, you're going to want to end up getting the whole month. So we also have a $30 drop-in rate as well. So for those who can't do a whole month, then what they'll do is they'll come, let's say they can come on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but they can't do Thursday because they have swimming or they have gymnastics or they're doing stuff in the summer. Then they'll do a drop-in class, which is $30. So that is different from that $10 trial class. So the trial is for you just to see what's going on, and then the $30 day class is for once you already know that you like it and there's certain days that you want to come in. That's just a $30 day, So we got it all for you. Ain't no excuses. No excuses.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. All right, let's make sure we reach out to our sister Akilah. Everybody enroll the children. Now, for someone like me who doesn't have children, but have nieces and nephews, and have people all around the country and the world who I want to assist, are you saying that I can sponsor someone for $30 just to, pop in for a day? So you're saying that other people can?
Absolutely. That's actually a good idea. So for people like the wonderful brother Joshua, who has nieces and nephews, or if you out there, you have grandchildren that you want to, be in the class, just you could sponsor them, do a $30 day, and for their parents to check out. That's an awesome idea. And then you would just cash at me. And I don't know if there's a way I don't think there's a way we could put the Cash App on the screen, but maybe if there's a chat or something. But my Cash App is Goddess Flow. And, but you would still have to email me so that I can send you the link. So once you email me at bookakilahnehanda@gmail.com, just let me know what it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to sponsor one of your grandchildren, one of your nieces, nephews, cousins, whatever it is, then just send it to me in the email, and I'll send that person the link so that they can enjoy that class. Again, that's bookakilahnehanda@gmail.com.
Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, so you explained a little bit, but I want to go into you being a mother and the value of homeschooling, virtual schooling, and having a one-on-one interaction. What is the value of that, ma'am?
So a lot of you guys know that I'm an artist, so I do music, I do hip hop, R&B, And so I travel a lot. I do, I'm kind of just on my own schedule, and I'm a housewife, so I don't have a job per se. So one of the things that fueled it is that I wanted Neilani, I homeschool my 4-year-old. And so I knew that I was capable, and I've also taught other children. Even at MUI, I taught Islamic studies and whatnot. So I knew I was capable of teaching this age group because I've done it before, and because I work with Neilani. So because of that, I have a friend who works for Whole Living. Well, she's the founder of Whole Living Academy, um, which I also recommend for the school year for people to look into that. It's called Whole Living Academy. It's Black-owned, Afrocentric based. They teach them Swahili, Spanish, French, and then they do they have karate, all these things virtually. It's pretty interesting. But I let her know that I was interested in substituting for a class for that age group. And then, long story short, I ended up being the main teacher for that class for the school year. And so that's when I found out the importance and the value of being able to teach your child while they're at home, and also getting that help, because there's other teachers who are teaching them different subjects. So if they are learning Spanish and like all these different things, it's not going to be just you. So some people, they want to homeschool their child, but there's certain lessons that they might not know how to teach their own child. So that's where virtual school comes in, where you can, basically pay somebody else to teach your child, but they're still in the comfort of their own home or wherever you want to be in that moment, and not in the public school system if that's not what you want your children to be in. I went to public school, so I understand what you're trying to shield them from because I know, Josh, you went to public school, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Don't try to be shady. Don't try to know you.
The outcome of that. No, I'm kidding. So we turned out good. I mean, we turned out perfectly fine. But I don't know. It just seems like nowadays, and there's still a lot of us who are in public school, but it just seems like nowadays, because of technology, that's the only thing that frightens me a little bit about public school now, is because when I was in school, we didn't have cell phones like that. So we couldn't expose other children to certain things that, our parents didn't want us to be exposing them to. Mm. So that's the only thing that kind of makes me feel like, I don't know, I would have to probably stick with maybe a MUI or, either maybe a charter, private, something where I feel like I have a little more say in the type of activities that the children are doing, because the influence on children when it comes to these phones, and then nowadays there's nothing off limits on the internet, So, I mean, even on YouTube, when you go to certain videos, all it does is ask, are you 18? Are you over 18? And then all you got to do is press the button, yes. And then they're going to show you whatever explicit video is on YouTube. So that's the only thing that concerns me when it comes to public school. But besides that, like I said, I went to public school, and I turned out fine. However, today's time is a little different. And so I'm advocating for homeschooling, and I'm advocating for MUI, which is Muhammad University of Islam. And, in Houston, Texas, we have a school called Elevated Places. So any of those type of schools that for sure are based in maybe Afrocentric learning, or based in some type of community or village type teaching, instead of just, what we've been accustomed to with public school.
Excellent. Go ahead. And Sister Naima says, welcome. She says, Milani loves Sister Akilah Summer's program. It's so much fun. Sister Miriam says, email book Akilah Nehanda at gmail.com. She put it in the chat. Thank you very much.
Oh, good looking out.
Thank you, everyone, to our wonderful. Thank you to our YouTube family as well. Sister Auntie, Sister Hope, Brother Kente, Brother Musa, Brother Gentleman, everybody who shows love to the People's Podcast. Shout out to Sister Akilah. Now, quick pivot. I wanted to ask you, Drake and Kendrick, it's a thing. Never got, never got to talk to you about that. So I wanted to hear your opinion about when is there the importance of artist, like, competition, as long as it doesn't go left, or so what are your thoughts on that?
And look, it ain't even no way to like make it all nice and rosy. It is what it is. It's a battle, and Kendrick won. Okay, so
Okay.
when it comes to what happened at first, because I'm a Chris Brown fan, but when Chris Brown and Quavo start going at it, and then Chris Brown was like, "Everybody wish it was you that was dead," instead of Take Off, and I'm just like, okay, that's going crossing the line, you know what I mean? So I was actually about to write a freestyle, because while he was doing his beef, that's when the Kendrick and Drake beef started as well. And then I think it was another beef that was going on simultaneously. It was like Kanye and he had said something crazy about J. Cole for bowing out of the battle. And so it was like a lot of beefs going on at the same time. And so I was actually about to write a freestyle. People know me for my freestyles on social media, and a lot of times they go viral. So I was going to write it on an angle of like, we shouldn't be beefing with each other in this way, because especially if you're doing it because y'all beefing over a girl and all this stuff. And so, but then as the time went on, and then Kendrick and Drake's beef started getting more and more interesting. They started having more and more songs come out. It totally overshadowed the Chris Brown and Quavo beef. And I was like, okay, well, that's over with. Now I had to focus on Kendrick and Drake, and the way in which Kendrick was angling his beef, which was calling out Drake for basically like pedophilia and like basically being something that he's not. All of the things, with the exception of the pedophilia part, but all the stuff that he said about Drake when it came to him trying to act tough and all that, I've always felt that way. I've always felt like Drake was acting. You know what I mean? Yes, I've always felt like Drake was acting, because he didn't grow up, talking about starting from the bottom. He said that he grew up in a Jewish affluent neighborhood, right? And he had a bat mitzvah, okay, at an Italian restaurant. He was not struggling. When I say struggling, he might have been struggling in his own ways. Everybody has their own struggles. But I'm saying it wasn't in a way of you on Section 8 like Kendrick. Like you weren't struggling like you were living in a food desert. You're not struggling like you in Compton struggling. So to me, and then of course him being a child actor and at a young age, like it shows that there was privilege in Drake's life. So in my mind, I'm like, every time I hear Drake try to sound tough, I'm like, okay, not at all. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. I like Drake, just literally just like Kendrick said, when he says, I like Drake with the melodies, not Drake when he plays tough. Like, I like Drake with the melodies. Like, when Drake came out, he set a new precedent because he was being himself. Remember his first, it was either an album or a mixtape, but it's the one where he was in a suit. He had his hair, like he had a little part in his hair. He looked real sharp. The background was looking like fall leaves. like that's how he came out. And the songs on that mixtape were catchy. They were good. They had melodies. He wasn't talking about growing up, disenfranchised or anything. He was just rapping mostly to catering to women. And so that's what we know Drake for, because he was poetic in a lot of his raps. Like the way he came out was really, really Like, it was a big deal. You know what I mean? He came out, he had bars, he had all of those things. And so to me, when he started to, recently pivot and try to wear grills and try to like, braiding his hair in cornrows and, like saying he got goons and all this stuff, that's when it becomes like, okay, now this is an act. And of course, now he's promoting Sexy Red and like, it's like, what's happening? So I don't know. I was on Kendrick's side when it came to
Okay.
yeah, I was definitely on Kendrick's side when it came to all that because I don't know where all that came from. And I've been a Kendrick fan since the beginning. And my thing is when it comes to music, like you might not be like I'm the type of person I like the artist and I might like the music too. I don't have to like the music in order to like the artist. Now Kendrick, I like him as an artist and I like some of his music. All of his music is not necessarily like my flavor, but he does have a lot of songs that I enjoy, that I like. But I like him as an artist. Like J. Cole, I might not get into all his music, but I like J. Cole as a person, if that makes sense. The funny thing is when it came to Drake, I've always liked Drake's music, but I never liked Drake as a person. And it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to explain that, but there's just certain people, like even Tupac. I like Tupac as an artist and a person. You know what I mean? So it's just, I mean, I like Bob Marley as an artist and a person. It's just certain people who you might like their music, but you might not necessarily like them as a person. And that's okay. So, but when Kendrick started calling him out, that's when I was like, finally, somebody said it. That was a long, sorry, that was a long way to, but that was a long beef. So I had to break it down.
Absolutely. And you're speaking past tense. I don't think it's past tense. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I'm
not
saying?
past tense. He annihilated him at that festival. What I do love, and again, this is why I like Kendrick as a person. What he did, bringing the gangs together and uniting all of those gangs in California, and everybody getting on the stage and like looking like they just loved each other. That's only something that a real man who is, trying to do something for the culture can do, versus like talking about it. Like that's something that really that was important for the culture because it showed more than just hip hop. It showed how the hood needs to be united and how we as a people need to be united and how we can do that under the guise of hip hop, which is what hip hop was supposed to be in the first place. When it was first, when it first came out, when it was first created, however you want to say it. So again, and the minister, I remember the minister saying, and it started going viral all over the internet. He said it in what, 20, it was like 2000. I don't remember when the minister said it, but he basically said that Kendrick was like the boss. He was like, Kendrick is the boss, basically saying like he's the head of like that hip hop cultural movement. And then now to see it playing out the way it is right now, years after the minister said that, is like, wow, I wasn't expecting it to look like this, but it's here. He got his crown on, so it's very inspirational. I'm really loving what I'm seeing when it comes to the Kendrick movement. And maybe Drake was right. Remember when Drake said, I'm glad I got you out your he was basically like, I'm glad I got you making music again or something like. Maybe he was right, but thank you because now he got a #1 song on everything. So sometimes it does take somebody to get you to show them who they are, who you are. So we can thank Drake. If he wants to be thanked for that, we can thank him.
Okay, I didn't know you hate Drake so much. I didn't know you hate Drake so much.
I like his music. I do like his music. He's very talented. But him as a person, I'm like, especially when you this sounds definitely like I'm just going after Drake, but especially when you like date people like Serena Williams and like, you know, all of these wonderful women. He's like a serial dater. And something about that always doesn't sit right with me. Like men who try to date everybody in the industry. Something about that just doesn't sit right with me because I kind of look at it as like a character flaw. I don't look at it, I mean, we all have our flaws, but I'm saying like, what is it about you that you want to conquer every woman, every like top woman in the industry? So something about that was kind of strange as well. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot that, and it's so funny because once I, you know, my name starts to get bigger and whatnot, I feel like this interview is going to come back up and everybody's going to be like, Akilah Nehanda says all these things about Drake. And it's just like, I don't know. I have no, because of that, I'll say this. I have no animosity against Drake, against Aubrey. I have nothing against him. It's just certain people that I gel with and I feel connected to, and some people I don't. However, I think his music is very, very catchy, and I do enjoy dancing to his music. I'm not going to stop dancing to somebody's music just because I don't like them as a person. Like, if you have good music, I'm going to always give it to you. Like, I'll never say, oh, you know, some people, I feel like you're just lying if you say that Drake doesn't make good music. He makes great music. You know what I mean? So I enjoy his music, and that's that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. For the record, shout out to Kendrick Lamar. I think he won the beat, but you know I'm YMCMB. I'm a big little fan, so like it's rough to see all of this going on. I'm just telling you, like Kendrick Lamar winning, but I can't. Young Money's like Nicki Minaj behind me. I mean Kendrick Lamar's over there, but Wayne and Drake. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. So to see this, it's like
yeah, musically, and you know, now that I think about it, like nobody really came to Drake's rescue, like Drake, like Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj. None of them said anything. I just feel like everybody's like, nah, this is between you two. So, but no, they have good music. Like Nicki, Drake, Wayne, all of them have hits. All of them have music that I've danced to. So you cannot deny that they make music. You know, they make good music too. But I personally like Kendrick as a person. You know, hopefully he's solid. You know, hopefully he's a solid person through and through, but only God knows.
I gathered that. I never heard. I mean, you just broke. You just did a diss track on the People's Podcast live. Kendrick may sample this interview. That's all I'm saying. He may sample this for his next song.
That you know, they started sampling remember Obama, apparently they had asked Obama years ago if there was ever a rap battle between Drake and Kendrick, who would win, and Obama said Kendrick. If I was Kendrick, I would sample that one. Doggone it. That was years ago.
Okay, Brother Mustafa A says, Assalamu family, Blake Salam, sir. And Brother Enoch, I think this is his first time watching. He says, Salam, and he's sending you roses. I know you all work together. Matter of fact, we're going to come right back to that point of you and Brother Enoch working together and going into the Hip Hop Detox. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for every like, share, and subscription. Thank you for every anonymous Cash App. Shout out to the People's Podcast affiliates all around the world. 1 second, we're coming right back to Sister Akilah Nehanda. And we are live with the People's Podcast, Street Premiere Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need that. Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book. Christ, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and Father No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Perfect. And please let us know which city you all are watching People's Podcast as well as if you have any guest suggestions, let us know in the comments. All right, so working with Brother Enoch and Hip Hop Detox, going to see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I love hearing your stories and your breakdown of that. How important was that to you personally, and how important was that for the culture?
Wow. So that in and of itself, that event, shout out to Brother Enoch, because it wouldn't have happened without him. So Hip Hop Detox is I don't know if it's called an organization, but I would say Hip Hop Detox is a organization, foundation, where they're basically bringing hip hop with a message in a theatrical way as well. It's kind of like a stage play. But Brother Enoch, he goes to different schools, different high schools, different middle schools, wherever, and there's basically performance art. And so poetry, hip hop, and all of these things that are basically catering to the inner city children who basically looking for hip hop with a message, or poetry, spoken word with a message, and its goal is to uplift the community. And so what Brother Enoch did is he connected a lot of us in the Nation of Islam who are artists. He got us all together and we went out to Chicago and we did a show out there in Chicago. And I'm trying to think of what the event was, but we all were out there. Long story short, after we performed, and it's so funny because the minister was in the room when we were performing, but right when it got to me, he had left the room. I was like, man, he didn't get to see me perform. But then that same night, he had got on the stage, and the minister talked about how important this was, and then he left, and then I performed, and then we found out that the minister wanted to see us the next day. So we all went to the palace, which is where the minister is, his house, and we had a meeting with him. And we were all sitting around like a conference table. Brother Enoch has some pictures, but we were all sitting around a conference table, and we basically listened to the minister speak to us for like 4 hours. We were able to ask him questions. There were certain people who had flights that day, but they were like, well, I'm gonna have to move my flight because this is much more important. And so we really got to sit down and listen to his guidance. And it was really important because one of the things that I asked him was, how does he want us as women to be basically represented in the hip hop space or the music space? And he said he said it without saying it, but he said, study the women like Ella Fitzgerald, study the women like Lena Horne, study how those women looked and how they dressed and how dignified they were when they were out, and how they, he emphasized how they dressed, and how they dressed in these long gowns, and, they looked very regal, and they looked very, respectable, and all these things. And so I was like, okay, fast forward to recently when I started doing my tour, because I'm signed to an artist development label called Peace Industry Music Group, which is an imprint at Rock Nation. And so when I started to travel and perform with them, I was trying to figure out what my style was going to be. And something in me just was like, oh, I should wear this sparkly long dress. And then I'm going to get like a crown made with it. And then, so I started wearing those type, and I just would change like different colors of that. And then it dawned on me one day, I was like, whoa, this looks just like the gowns that like Ella Fitzgerald would wear, or like Lena Horne would wear. And so it's almost like a seed was dropped. And even though I felt like I was trying to come up with the concept myself of like what to wear, what I realized is that I ended up wearing what he said he wanted us to look like. And so at my concerts, I wear basically like long gowns, like, and I'm doing hip hop. So it's kind of like, whoa, what is she about to do? Because you don't know. But then when I bust out with a, song, a hip hop song, it's like, oh wow, so you're a rapper. So I thought that was really interesting how the minister dropped seeds. And I'm like, I guess he's dropping seeds like the messenger was dropping seeds with him. And you don't realize that you have caught that until years later, and you think it's your idea, and then you think back like, wait a minute, the messenger said that. Oh, wait, the minister said that. So I thought that was really interesting. We got to shake his hand. He has like the softest hands ever, very soft. And it was just really a beautiful vibe. It was like heaven. And you know how the minister says that we create our own atmosphere. So if we have our own atmosphere, then the atmosphere around you is a reflection of that. So we felt such at peace, and it's a testament to the minister and who he is. And then even while we were there, Mother Khadijah, she came downstairs, she talked to us a little bit. Well, not really talked to us, but she kind of talked like, oh, is he talking your head off, And so, we were laughing, and she was like, like, let these people go, And so we saw the dynamic between him and his wife, Mother Khadijah, which was really beautiful and playful. And then, some of his sons came down, some of his grandsons, they were coming from. And it's so funny because I say it like this, like when they came, because I'm thinking there must be a garage that's attached to that room in some way. But when they came through the doors, like a lot of the sons or the grandsons, they had on like these leather jackets. I'm like, I feel like I'm in the Jackson 5 house. You know how like if you were to go to like, I don't know, Joe Jackson or Karen Jackson's house, and then all of a sudden, like some of the Jackson 5 just kind of come in from the garage, and it's just like, oh, but not because of like because they're attached to the minister, but more so because of I think the spirit of everything, and how everything is such I want to say, like, if you were to go to Neverland, or if you were to go somewhere that's kind of away, and that you're about to meet someone who is a part of a dynasty, you know what I mean? And that's how it felt. So it felt like I was in the Jackson household, and we're talking to Michael Jackson, like, the biggest. And then all these other Jacksons like start coming out. It's like, oh, look at the other Jacksons. It felt like that. And it was really beautiful to be able to experience that in their home, and for them to embrace us, and for the minister to talk to us for so long and just lend us his ear. And it was just really beautiful. We were able to ask him a lot of questions. So of course it was a highlight of my life. It was something that I'll never forget. I'll always be grateful that I was in that room, and that I was able to talk to him personally, like ask him a question personally. Yeah, so that was great.
Hey, you're always coming through with some exclusive stories. Once again, how can we watch? I mean, how can we support your summer camp program? Everybody, let's go sign up right now.
Yes, if you want to sign up your child, and it's ages 4 to, I would say 4 to 6, ages 4 to 6. It's kindergarten to first grade class. They're learning math. They're learning how to read. They're learning how to blend their letters. They're learning all of these things. And of course, because I'm a hip hop artist, I got to incorporate music. I got to incorporate dance, movement. So they're doing all of those things. Games. There's a lot of games that we're playing. And so you can just register by going to book Akilah Nehanda at gmail.com. That's book Akilah, AKILAH NEHANDA at gmail.com. And we're gonna have a good time. A lot of us, we express ourselves through music, through art, through dance, but We got to also have those fundamentals of reading and math and writing and all of that. So I personally, I like to be like, you know, like a Tabitha Brown. If you know Tabitha Brown, she wears many hats. She's a vegan cook, but she also had a show, a children's show called Tab Time. And I don't think you have to put yourself in a box, because when it comes to me and doing my music, I'm gonna always do my music. But I think that working with children and doing children music for children, doing either learning for children, all of that matters, and it's a big deal because they are our future. So I enjoy doing that as well as doing music. So, and if you want to check out my music, go to akilahsworld.com. That's AKILAHS world, WORLD.com, akilahsworld.com. And all of my music is on there. You can check that out. My music videos are all over YouTube. So you could just go to YouTube to type my name in and you'll be able to see some of my music videos. And God willing, I'll have some more music videos coming very soon. And yeah, hit people back to back with it. But this actually helps with getting the funds to get the music videos done. So if you want to get your child in here, it'll help your sister in many ways.
Yes, ma'am. Let's make sure we support. One last question. People all around the world, especially in the hometown of my wife, Knowles, Third Ward, they keep asking me, when are you like to do a cartoon with Akilah? So is the cartoons ever coming back, or is that just something we, you know what I'm saying?
The cartoons have to come back one day, because I still get asked that all the time, which just shows me like I have to do it again one day. I don't know how soon I'm gonna do it, but I have to. And if y'all didn't know, our brother Joshua, he actually played a character in my cartoon. He was the music executive that was trying to get Keisha to apologize. But we so you can also
Casting. Look how she cast me. That show you how she see me, right? So I ain't gonna say somebody else. Everybody else gets to be all these other great characters in the show. Oh, this is you the revolutionary. You this Joshua. We're gonna make you be this Diddy character, no Diddy, but like this character, who
like you
try
gonna
to.
be right. You could be the coon. How about that? No, no, but hey, brother Joshua is an actor, and so we have to make it. We have to make the arts great again, especially in the Nation of Islam. Like we are actors, we are singers, we are dancers, we're all that. So yeah, the cartoon will be coming back, and of course, when that cartoon comes back, you got to play one of the characters again. It might not be that exact same character, but you got to play a character because that's where it's gonna be at. It's gonna be a really good show. I'm gonna get a lot of different voices to play it.
Wonderful. On that positive note, this is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Everyone who was watching, make sure we go back and look at Sister Akilah's previous interviews, many of her performances, and shout out to your family, shout out moms, and shout out to 45, holding it down to all the believers in Houston. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad, People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you all for watching.